Mark, I would suggest that Real Madrid won't be retaining La Liga this season, considering they're a million points off Barca at the top of the table. A 2-2 draw against Levante was dominated by the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo was substituted. Not happy with that substitution as we welcome Sid Lowe from Spain into the show. Sid, what's the reaction been like in Madrid to Ronaldo's reaction to being substituted?
To be honest, not quite as big as you might imagine, and obviously this has taken a lot of the attention, but perhaps not quite as much as you might imagine for a number of reasons. One of them, it was very late in the game. The other, the sense that this is all about building towards Paris Saint-Germain, so some attempt to protect him, to give him a little bit of a rest, even if it is only 8 or 9 minutes, is to be welcomed. Then Zidane came out afterwards and said, look, this was always part of the plan. In other words, it made it sound like it was agreed with Ronaldo beforehand. Now, I'm not convinced that everyone believes that. I'm not convinced that I believe that, but that's what he said. And then as well, while he clearly wasn't that happy about it, Ronaldo, actually when you look back on the occasions when there have been, I wouldn't call them confrontations, but kind of moments where he's clearly been annoyed, this was actually quite downplayed compared to them. And I must say as well, Dan, this is a personal bugbear of mine, but I kind of agreed with him at the moment when the TV camera was focused on him and he said, look, watch the game. Yeah, but actually watching the game wasn't a bad idea because Levante were about to go and score.
So you can't now start complaining that cameras are focusing on you when you walk around topless most of the time because you want cameras to be focusing on your six-pack. So don't give me that rubbish. If it was all part of the plan...
No, if you're Cristiano Ronaldo, if you're Cristiano Ronaldo, you can't complain about it. But if you're me, a guy watching the telly at home and you want to see the game and you don't want to see Ronaldo on the bench looking annoyed, I'm with Ronaldo on this. He was trying to do us all a favour, wasn't he?
I said if it was all part of the plan, why did he react the way he did? That's nonsense from Zidane, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think in a way it was Zidane protecting himself. I think it was Zidane trying to prevent it from kind of going too far. I think the irritation from Ronaldo was there. But I mean, I don't think it was quite as outwardly expressed as is often the case with Ronaldo. You know, there wasn't a kind of a moment of him throwing a bottle down or saying anything. It was more a look than anything else. Although there was that kind of shake of the head as he went off. I think, you know, obviously Zidane is saying that to try and calm things down. I think he also knows, Zidane, that sometimes with many players, and this happens with Ronaldo as well, even though he is a player that kind of remembers the things that go against him perhaps a bit longer than others, quite often a player goes off, he's annoyed, and by the next day it's almost gone. Now, I'm not saying it was gone in this case, but I think Zidane will believe that, you know, in a week's time when they play Paris Saint-Germain, it will no longer matter.
Real Madrid overall in 2018, it's been horrible. There's no other way to sugarcoat it, Sid. It's been appalling. The one lifeline, of course, is that they're still in the Champions League. Everyone now focusing on that game against PSG. Is it the fact that they've taken the foot off the gas and maybe they know they're out of La Liga, Copa del Rey maybe not as important to them as it should be, and it's all about now the Champions League and it's about raising their game for that?
Well, I mean, yes and no, because obviously that argument works up to a point, and it works in the sense that, you know, you've just shown the list of the results so far this year, right? And then, of course, it's true that this is at a point at which they know the league title is basically gone. They know that the focus is on the Champions League, and so maybe subconsciously that's part of what is happening. And, of course, I'm sure the guys in the studio can give you a much better view on that than me in terms of how much that impacts upon you. But, of course, let's not forget that this side of Christmas, we've also had Real Madrid knocked out the Copa del Rey. Now, that was a competition for them to go and win. So that kind of explanation doesn't necessarily stand up there. And the other reason why that explanation perhaps doesn't entirely stand up is, of course, the reason they were in this position, where the Champions League was the only thing that mattered, was because similar results as bad as this, were happening in the first half of the season when the league title still should have been on. Now, I do think that subconsciously, all the way through the year, there's been a kind of a sense that, well, we got the league last year, it's back into the Champions League, and it sort of hasn't mattered as much. But I think it's been a kind of a culmination of factors, losing games that they didn't expect, then that sense of emotionally being kind of disconnected from the league title very early on, maybe not having the drive to go to kind of try and claw that back. There's been moments when, of course, key players have been missing, and you know, the other day we saw the BBC start together for the first time since April. So there's a whole series of factors, but there's no doubt that right now the league almost doesn't matter, except, of course, it's the preparatory kind of phase, if you like, for those Champions League games. And it was summed up by one of the Spanish papers the other day saying, you know, every league game that Real Madrid play, with every passing game, Paris Saint-Germain look more terrifying because Madrid are just dreadful.
They are. Dreadful's a great way to describe them. From a player's point of view then, As Sid said, you know, they won the Liga last year. OK, now it's all about the Champions League, looking to make it 3 in a row. Can they do it? Can they up their game? Is it that easy? Can you switch a switch?
No, you can't. That's why it's just a nonsense. Stephen suggests that they're taking the foot off the gas. They're not worried about the league form, because you can't just switch it on and off. You need to get some momentum. You need to get players fit. You need to get players up to match speed. Combinations, be it the centre half or the full-backs, have had big issues in the defensive side of the game. That midfield three that was so successful for them has either been unavailable or haven't performed when they're playing. So no, they have just been, by their standards, garbage. Now, we talked about it briefly yesterday. They, on their day, could knock PSG out. It could happen because they have got so much quality there. But there's no evidence at the moment to suggest that is going to happen unless PSG completely freeze.
Barca 9 points clear at the top of the table. They will win La Liga 99% according to the SPI. If you were to pick one negative, Sid, I suppose, of the last few games, you could focus on Philippe Coutinho since that big money move from Liverpool. No goals, no assists. What have you made of his showing so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange one, really, Coutinho, because, of course, he's come halfway through the season, which on the face of it was a slightly odd thing to do, because, not least because, of course, he can't play in the Champions League. With Barcelona already having that lead in La Liga, as you say, 99%, admittedly, it wasn't quite as high as that when he joined the club. There was always a sense that his impact on what Barcelona do this season was likely to be limited. At most, it's going to be 3 Copa del Rey games, I think it would be, or 4 rather. That, you know, that it's playing in a league title that's already won and not playing in the Champions League, but giving the opportunity for Andres Iniesta to rest. And so in that sense, and this is something that Ernesto Valverde has said, in a way these are kind of 5 months given to Barcelona for free, a chance to bed him in, a chance for him to find a role, a chance for him bit by bit to play at a time when the pressure isn't really on him. Obviously long term, a starter for Barcelona without any doubt. But in the short term, of course, Champions League games will have to be played by Andres Iniesta. The first game, the response to him was extremely positive. He looked very, very good. It looked like he fitted in very nicely. It looked like he understood the Barcelona style very, very well. But then since then, it's not quite happened. And we saw one game, for example, of him playing on the right-hand side of a midfield 4, kept on coming inside into areas of the pitch that weren't really beneficial for him, weren't really beneficial for the players around him. And I think that's a learning process. The good news, as I say, is that he can do that at a time when anything that he does wrong probably won't really impact negatively on Barcelona's chances of winning anything.
Waste the money?
No.
That's it? Give him back?
No, but what a luxury to have, that you can have a player like Philippe Coutinho just to kind of come in and ease his way into a situation where he's expected to perform at a high level. The other thing that he has done, up until the last recent couple of games for Barcelona, Andres Iniesta apparently couldn't play more than 60 minutes. Oh, well, wait a minute. Philippe Coutinho starts playing now. Iniesta's playing 90 minutes in the pouring rain against Espanyol. So apparently his legs are not gone. The fact that you have the presence of Philippe Coutinho, knowing that he's going to be in the long term, gets the attention on even a player like Andres Iniesta. Iniesta will play better because of Coutinho's presence there, because there's a sense of pride there. The other thing that Coutinho's got to do is sort out where he fits on the field. Valverde has to do that as well, because Lionel Messi is not going to adjust to Coutinho. Coutinho has to adjust himself to whatever Messi wants to do. Once they get that sorted out, it will look a whole lot better for Coutinho and for Barcelona.
I think that's why Barcelona have been clever. That's why they went to Liverpool, forced it through. The player made it happen because he made it clear he wanted to go. OK, they may have paid a bit extra money, but as Sid pointed out, this gives them this period of time to get it sorted where everybody's going to play and how he's going to fit in exactly with these talented players. Not buying them late on in August and just throwing them in there.
Meanwhile, it's not exactly a hot take from Tony Evans over on ESPN FC, Stevie, but it's something that everyone seems to see, but Jurgen Klopp. Tony Evans written that it's time to get rid of Dejan Lovren. What has Klopp got, or what has Lovren got on Klopp that basically means that he starts in these games? Like, everyone surely was surprised that he started in the back.
Yep.
Against Spurs, makes a mistake, you know, and yet again we're here questioning why on earth he's a footballer.
I'm kind of running out of trying to figure out what goes on in Klopp's mind as far as the 2 centre-backs are concerned. I would have thought this Spurs game would have been the time, because Matip, the game before, wasn't at his best.
Right.
But he's been the most consistent defender pretty much all season. I would have thought that was the time where you show him a little bit of loyalty and you play him and Van Dijk. And you also play him and Van Dijk so that they can get a partnership going. Instead of that, yet again, he makes a change. And to your point, he makes a change and he plays Lovren. I mean, seriously, the guy is just... He's just a train wreck waiting to happen. And yet again, right on cue, just when he needed him to be calm and cool and composed and just kick the ball. We're not asking him to do a triple somersault and step overs. We're asking him just to kick a ball that's coming straight at him. He makes a mess of it, and all of a sudden Liverpool are under pressure. So the answer to your question, I have not a clue, because I don't think Klopp's got a clue either.
Well, he seems to have a phobia about putting a back four together. And I know he had to make a change at full-back, but putting a centre-half partnership together and keeping it there. Remember he left Van Dijk out in the Huddersfield game before that, and people were saying, well, it's only Huddersfield. There, we had 70-odd% possession. There wasn't much defending to do, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
You still can get a working relationship with somebody in a game that you dominate and win.
But apparently it's a secret that's the issue for Liverpool, that it's defending that is a problem. It's something that maybe Klopp cannot figure out himself, because we sit here and week after week we have the same discussions about Dejan Lovren, and he continues to go out there. So it tells me a couple of things. One, that Jurgen Klopp doesn't know what the heck he's doing defensively. But two, how bad are the other guys?
Yep.
I mean, how bad can the other...
Like, Matip is better than Lovren.
Well, you would think so. And
yeah.
To make the mistake even worse is the fact that you bring Joe Matip in, you make the substitution, now you go to a back three, and now they lost all sorts of shape defensively, all over the place. It doesn't change.
You look at Mane, certainly over the last couple of months, he's really let his form drop. Would you be concerned?
Yes. No, I'm concerned, yeah. He's been very inconsistent. I think he's been unfortunate that he's had some injuries when he's actually almost got back to his best. But there's no question, if I'm Klopp, I'm beginning to think ahead and figure out, maybe is it time to bring Lallana back in?
Right.
Is it time to give him a rest? Because, as exciting as he is when he's on the ball, I'll tell you what, it doesn't have put him in trouble because of his inconsistency. Against Spurs, the amount of times that he lost the ball and he ended up with 3 or 4 Liverpool players out the game because they're all getting forward, that has to be an issue for Klopp. It just depends on how long Klopp will stick with him.
The good news for Mane is that there's a guy on the other side who's banging all the goals in.
Sure.
Because if Salah wasn't doing that, then and Liverpool were not currently in the top 4 and they were struggling in the Champions League, or were out, then even more scrutiny would go into him. But it's kind of getting a little bit under the radar at the moment because the guy on the other side's pulling the horse along.
Are you surprised he hasn't gone already?
Well, it's a bit close from last night. I mean, it's 12 hours or whatever it is.
Sure.
24 hours. But we've seen it before. The interesting thing here is that, as strange as this may seem, Abramovich reportedly was going to sack him in the summer.
Despite winning the title?
Well, once the title got out of the way and the celebrations and all that and the holiday, and then he came back and there was a clear disagreement between Abramovich's lieutenants and Mike and Emanalo, who were the transfer people, I think it's Marina Grutskaya, and Antonio Conte. And it got so heated, apparently, that they reported back about his behaviour and about his thoughts, and he was going to sack him. He was going to sack him because there's a clear discord and a different direction wanted by the Chelsea board and the Chelsea football people and the Chelsea head coach. So, and I think that's come through on the field. He wanted the likes of Chiellini and players like that, but he's 33.
Yep.
I mean, who wouldn't want Chiellini? But Chelsea, and it's been reported, they're actually pulling the purse strings in. They're not spending the huge amounts that they once were. So they want players that they can potentially resell. Now, I know Giroud will go against the grain. That's short term. But as a longer term strategy, that is what they want to do. And that didn't sit well with the manager.
Even if it doesn't sit well, even if you don't get the players that you wanted, you've still got a damn good squad. Surely as your duty as the coach of Chelsea, you have that responsibility to coach them to the best of your abilities and not sulk and not act like he's been in press conferences on the touchline, because clearly he's not doing his job to the best of his ability.
No, but he keeps telling you he is. He keeps telling you how he's such a winner. He keeps talking about solutions. He ain't coming up with any solutions. Now, listen, as a coach, if you win your league, regardless of what country it is, the following season, you think you've got some leeway. But I'll tell you what, you don't deserve any leeway if you're seeing, and certainly from my opinion, he looks as though he's not putting his 120% in. He's not looking for solutions. You know, if you're working hard with your team on the training field, sometimes it goes against you when you actually play a game. But you can't see anything. You can't see anything with this Chelsea side that has changed, certainly in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So what is he doing? I'm telling you, he talks a great game. He's talking about winner. He's talking about solutions. And he's done neither.
If we take Conte out of this equation, though, Ali, it is deja vu. This has happened before with Chelsea, with not Conte but Mourinho at the helm. So is there a sense that the players kind of take their foot off the gas after they win a title, that they don't care as much, they don't show as much desire? Is it fair to say that?
I wouldn't go as far as to say that the players don't care as much, but it is a natural reaction that once you achieve the pinnacle of what you're looking for, you've achieved the goal that you set out for yourself, that there is a natural let-off. It is a reaction, and that's why it's so difficult to win back-to-back titles, because you can't quite recreate that same magic, that same feeling in the locker room. Having said all that, though, that has nothing to do with the idea, and this is this thing that has been jumping out at me over the last month or so with Antonio Conte, that I haven't seen a manager that wanted to get fired so badly, or as badly as Antonio Conte does. His approach to coaching, his approach to the press conference, his statements to the media, all of them seem to have a message, and the message is very simple. If I'm not good enough, then get rid of me. As you continue to say that, eventually they're going to get rid of you. And I'm fully convinced that they haven't gotten rid of him just yet because they don't have somebody lined up.
Right.
If they had somebody who they have an agreement with, then Antonio Conte would have been gone.
Well, one of the other reports in the English paper was that one of the papers was that Luis Enrique had been approached and had turned it down, and that's why he is actually still in a job. But mark my words, he's going to be fired.
Oh, of course.
And he's waiting to be fired because he doesn't want to walk, even though he's unhappy, because he wants his money. But I don't know about the boys, but I'm sick and tired of these top coaches always crying and moaning and whinging when a transfer policy or a transfer strategy or a transfer target does not go their way. All we hear is, well, I'm not getting the player. And ask Stevie, coaching at the New England Revolution for years. He'd pull his hair out most days because he couldn't get a full-back to pass it to a centre-half. These are working with top-quality players.
Yeah.
And they're still whinging, they're still moaning.
And getting paid millions of dollars a year to do it.
Unlike him.
Stevie did it for the love of the game.
Yes.
That's what that was about. Hey, but when you take a look at this and you look at those who have won the Premier League over the last 5 managers to do that, they don't last very long after lifting the title. It looks like Antonio Conte is going the same way. Welcome then to Extra Time. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. How was the Super Bowl, Stevie? You watched it at...
Are you going to ask questions or what?
I'm asking you a question.
This is about asking
ask questions because people are complaining.
I will get to people's questions in a moment, but I've seen a magnificent video of you dancing at Burley's house post-Super Bowl.
Well, I was getting over the disappointment of the game.
You got over it quite impressively.
I did get over it pretty quick.
It was, how would you describe it, Craig? River dance?
Yeah.
I think a bit of river dance, and then Craig gets involved as well.
With not the same sort of commitment, though.
No, but still, it's quite impressive.
Because I'm not as big an idiot.
Okay.
Village idiot over there.
Hold on a minute. So you are an idiot, but you're not as big an idiot.
Yeah. See, this is the kind of chat that is annoying people.
Is it?
It's not annoying me. It's annoying people.
I've been away, so I don't know.
They were tweeting last night.
What have you been doing on Extra Time?
No, we had having more normal little chats. And they were like, just get to the questions. We send questions and we want them answered.
Okay.
Don't show any side of what you're like or having any fun or telling any stories, a little bit of insight of what happens behind the scenes. Just answer the questions.
So we've got no time to mention that you went to the gym today.
So we need to start again.
We have to start again.
That's very unimportant to people that want the questions answered.
For me,
private life, right?
I'll get tweets tonight about this.
Right, private.
We just want to answer the questions. Nothing about what we do.
So you don't want to show the picture of Craig at the gym?
No, yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
No, you said we got to get private life private.
No, please. No.
So, first
what are we doing?
The person that picks the questions must have an EPL bias against La Liga.
Oh. Okay. First tweet. Why ask a question the guys almost never answer them?
Oh, no answer.
There you go.
Oh, wait.
Exactly.
What have you been doing while I've been away?
No answering you.
Wow. Okay. Who has...
Seb was having issues. That's a problem.
Jonathan Gonzalez.
What's his name?
Oh, man.
Who had the biggest fall from grace, Zidane or Conte?
Zidane.
Zidane, yeah.
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 You win
Craig, you get to answer the question now.
Oh, you don't want to get some answer then?
Sorry?
No, you're all right.
Oh, well, you're going to go into some
Well,
detail.
I was in the middle of an answer. You just custard pie me. Give me one of them.
It's pretty obvious, isn't it?
Oh, you're all right. On you go.
All right.
You're hurt.
You're
You're hurt.
assault now.
Well, you're just back and you're giving it the old Charlie Big Spuds already.
Okay, good.
Charlie who?
Don't ask. Sorry.
Yeah, extra time's just become so off the cuff now. It's just unacceptable.
Stick to the questions.
It's unacceptable.
On the first penalty kick, Harry Kane dove, right?
No. Well, I don't think he did, but it was anyway. I don't.
Look, I know a dive when I see one. That was a dive. However, it was a good dive, one that drew contact, and therefore the penalty was warranted.
If that had been another penalty box, I'd have wanted a penalty for Liverpool.
Okay. If you had the chance to launch someone from the show into space in SpaceX's payload, who will it be? What is this SpaceX thing today? What is it?
The most powerful rocket in history.
Oh, yeah? What's it doing?
Well, I'm not quite sure.
Right.
Hey, as a rocket scientist,
Yeah, where's Shaka?
well,
No.
that's a good question as well.
Is he flying it?
Possibly. No, it's
got the
unmanned.
remote,
It's
hasn't he?
unmanned rocket.
Oh, is it? Yeah. So what's the point?
Not quite sure. I'm sure I'll get on it and then give you a report tomorrow. Maybe.
Okay. Are you on top of this, Rocket?
No, I saw somebody tweeting about it earlier. I have no idea what it's about.
Would you like to go to space, Stevie, if you were given the chance?
Again? No, I'm all right.
Again?
Where
Been
did
here
you
a
go?
couple of times.
Have you? What was it like?
It's lonely.
Very quiet. Not a lot going on.
A lot of
Well,
nonsense.
will you answer the question, please?
Who would you send to space?
You.
From the team. Me.
You.
Good. Right. Yes.
You.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That is it.
Coming in here, getting all personal instead of answering the people's questions. I mean, people watch this part of the show to ask questions, and you straight off the bat start going into all our personal life.
I like to talk. Surely people are more interested in your personal life than Zidane or Conte, aren't they?
Obviously
Well,
not.
some are not. Some are so serious. They just.
No.
I can't be diddled.
That's it.
I think this whole segment should be cut.
What? This particular bit or the whole segment every day?
Extra time, yeah.
Out of all the
Extra
segments
time
we
fully.
do, of all the segments we do, which shouldn't be cut?
Well, that's a good question.
Well,
Fair
What
question.
should remain?
Best of the week.
Rest of the
rest of the week when the guy doing it's not off doing something else, it's very less important. They think it's important, but it's not important as that.
Oh, clear. Let's get out of here. What's tomorrow? Tottenham against Newport County, everyone.
Yeah, that's cut.
Sevilla Leganés.
The top 10 are good.
6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN News.
Romelu Lukaku, when he signed for Manchester United, there was a big fanfare, Alejandro Moreno, and a lot of people thought he'd do very well. How do you think he has done so far since joining?
I don't think there was any question that Romelu Lukaku was going to score goals for Manchester United. The issue is the goals that he's scoring and at which point and what games. Are these game-changing goals? Are these the sort of goals that you need in key moments, in big games? That's why you have a top-line striker, the guy that can give you a win where there wasn't a win to be had. Early on, there was a lot of positive about Lukaku and a lot of positive about Manchester United and the way that they were playing. But similar to Manchester United, Romelu Lukaku has found difficulties to create opportunities over the second half of the season. And so it's not a coincidence that his productivity has fallen off when you consider that the team itself has become a lot more conservative in the way they play, lacking creativity. And so therefore, you would think when you bring in a player like Alexis Sanchez, maybe that alleviates some pressure from Lukaku, attracts attention to Alexis Sanchez, and he may just give Lukaku the space that he needs in order to finish his opportunities.
We're going to have a look at this full screen, and there's a stark dichotomy between the first 13 games that he played and the last 13. Now, when Pogba got hurt, he was a creative influence. That was mainly due in the last 13 games. There's enough space, isn't there, for the creativity of Sanchez and the goal-scoring prowess of Lukaku so that in the next 12, 13 games or whatever, he can get back to the way he was.
Yeah, logically speaking, you would think that would be the way that things would work out, where Alexis Sanchez, just because he's on the field, it attracts attention. See, if I'm a right back and I know Alexis Sanchez is coming from the left-hand side, I have to pay attention to him. The center back has to have an eye on him as well. So as Alexis Sanchez cuts inside, center back steps out, that opens up a space in behind him. Lukaku can run into that space. There is a lot that happens with Alexis Sanchez just being on the field, just wandering about. And so then you pay attention to Alexis Sanchez, you pay attention to Lukaku, and now Pogba joins in the attack. So it does create mismatches, and it does create for opportunities for Manchester United to be more aggressive. The issue for me is whether they're going to be allowed to be more aggressive. Jose Mourinho sometimes has this team in second gear, and it doesn't allow that what we think is the potential of this team to truly display itself out on the field. Sometimes I would just rather be selfishly, I would just rather Manchester United and Jose Mourinho to just
take
let
the shackles off.
Yeah, just to let go. Just let us see what you are and go and attack a team and really display everything that you have out on the field. I don't think they do that often enough.
And he's not been the type of manager over his career that's kind of done that very often with creative players. But we'll see if he does, and we will see if the arrival of Alexis Sanchez, according to Wayne Rooney as well, will help Romelu Lukaku in the scoring charts as well. Well, it's a well-trodden path from northwest Germany down to Bavaria. Alejandro Moreno, is Christian Pulisic perhaps the next to make that journey?
Maybe in the future. Maybe in the distant future. I just don't see this happening anytime soon. I think it would be best for Christian Pulisic to stay where he is right now. He's playing well, he's making an impact. The more he matures, the more he grows up, maybe he prepares himself even better to whether it's Bayern Munich or somewhere else. But it just feels like we're having this discussion every week. Whether it's Bayern Munich, he's going to Manchester United, he's going to the Premier League, he's going here, he's going there. How about he just stays Borussia Dortmund for now?
Alvaro Morata had an okay season with Chelsea, linked with PSG. What do you think?
One of the reasons he left Real Madrid is to be his own man, to be the guy that could lead a team in the attack, that could be the main guy, the go-to guy, the goal scorer. PSG already has that. I don't think so.
We're 0 for 2. Aaron Ramsey played really well for Arsenal in their last game with a hat-trick. Will he leave?
When you bring all the talented players in the attack for Arsenal, and you have Aubameyang, and then you have Mesut Ozil, and you have this guy and that guy, Mkhitaryan coming as well, and then you have the luxury of having Lacazette on the bench, and all these other things, you need some balance to your team. You need some sort of presence behind all that attacking talent. I don't know that Ramsey's that guy or not, but really, who else do you have? I don't think you get rid of this guy. I think he stays.
Now, this might have a chance for a hit. There's been a lot of talk since the defeat at Watford that Luis Enrique is the man they may have identified to replace Antonio Conte. What say you?
Well, it makes sense if you look at it from the perspective that he's sitting in his house doing absolutely nothing, but it may just be that that's exactly what he wants to do. Once you take a position like Barcelona, it's a lot of attention, it's a lot of pressure, and a lot of things that go around being the manager of Barcelona. Maybe he wants to take some time off. Jumping into Chelsea, right in the middle of things, right before they take on Barcelona of all teams.
Yep.
I don't know that that's ideal. I don't know that that's what you want to do to your stress levels. I don't think this happens. Not right now, anyways.
Okay, so we're 0 for 4. Are we a clean sweep of misses today, or is Arturo Vidal going to save you with a hit?
Well, he doesn't have to save me. I'll be okay. Arturo Vidal, there's been some conversation from Jupp Heynckes as to say, yeah, there are times in which he needs to grow up. Well, this is a guy that's been around for a while now. And so the questioning of his professionalism has happened over the course of his career because he likes to do a couple of things here and there, extracurricular activities off the field. That's not going to be rectified now. It's too late.
Leopard doesn't change his balls.
It's too late now.
Is there room for him at Man United?
I don't think this really comes together. I don't think it fits. I don't think these are pieces that really fit together. And I just don't believe that Manchester United are missing this sort of player. I think Manchester United have needs in other places. I don't think this is one of them.
No hits.
Is that 0 for 5?
0 for 5 today. I don't think I've seen that.
Unlucky, son.
He's not having any of them today.